All right, gang, it's Hexy. All right, so we just finished up turn two. Now, I know it's been some space between turns one and two, but I've been a little bit busy this week trying to do not as much gaming as I want to be doing. But when I do sit down and play it, especially this thing right now, I'm going through it pretty good. So I finished up turn two this evening after a little dinner. All right, so let's talk about, before we even talk about what's happened in the game. Okay, so much like many of you out there, and much not like many of you out there, I like the monster games. I would love to play the campaigns of everything and just, and sometimes I try just leave the stuff on the table and play it and use a small table like I'm doing now with Army Group North and this game Crossing the Line, Aachen 44, 1944. Play a smaller game out here on this table. Now, so here's how I'm going to categorize this game, and this is just after two turns. First off, very, very good system. Plain and simple, this is a very good system. Now, why to hex is that a very good system? So, okay, here we go. So I'm going to categorize this as a mini monster. Okay? So now Hexy has three categories of monster games. The very detailed monsters, like Gauss, like EFS, like OCS. And granted, just because I say they're detailed, I don't necessarily mean that the game is difficult. There's just a lot more to them in depth of rules. Then there's the simple monster, which I consider games like Day of Days. And I don't think there's a whole lot of those out there. This one would probably drop into that simple monster, okay? But we're going to classify it as mini monster because it's just a one map game, all right? First off, the map is freaking outrageously beautiful. The counters are the same. They're gorgeous counters. I think they're well listed. They got quite a few numbers on there, but it's not confusing to look at these numbers. After the first few minutes of playing, I comprehended what all the numbers are. The rules are not mind-boggling. The play of the game, when you're executing an action, the action is very smooth and very fluid. I think what might get people tied up a little bit, I don't know, for those of you that played, you'll have to let me know your opinion, is I think what's happening is because of the actions, the formation activation levels, and then the action points, people look at it like, oh my God, it's taken forever to play a turn. Well, okay, it does take a few minutes to play a turn. But this is, think of it as almost like Hurtgen Force, only even a lot more. It's only 8 turns. But yes, you might have 20-some actions amongst the formations, or maybe even 30-some. But what I have noticed is the formation activation levels, other than when the first turn a unit or a formation comes on the game or the first turn of the game, they're not necessarily getting max activations anymore, okay? For example, I used up the first infantry and the second armored, third armored? Third armored. I used up all their activations. They started with 7 in the first turn. They only get a +5 on the second turn. So I'm already down 2 activations on both of those formations, which, unfortunately, I felt that in this one because the Germans got reinforcements on this second turn here in the 49th and the 12th Infantry, I'm assuming infantry divisions, and they came on as reinforcements with full activations of 6 and 5. So I didn't even touch them as the Germans until everything was done with everybody else, including the Allies, the Americans, and then I executed all their activations to move them forward. Now, I'm not moving all of the 49th forward because I'm going to use part of them to protect Aachen, plus their command range. Well, the command range is 9, so I guess I could have done more with that. But I'm going to protect Aachen, and I'm going to keep the Dragon Teeth line up there. The 12th, I'm moving them to the front, and then I want to try to pull the 116th and the 9th Panzer back out behind the lines to use them for these little quick jaunts into the Americans when they create holes somewhere, because you can't. The Germans aren't strong enough with their regular infantry units to get good odds against them. Come on, you're talking 2s and 3s. Maybe there's a 4 here somewhere. I think there's a 5 here somewhere. But come on, first infantry division, these guys are all 6s, so they got to be dwindled down before these second line German infantry units can deal with them. So outside of that, as you're conducting a lot of actions, the actions aren't that hard. You spend an action point. you move. And great campaigns. Remember how you used to have to spend your action points to depending on what type of attack you want to do? Well, that's been applied in this system. But most of the stuff is you spend 1 point to do most things. You might expend 2 to do a regular attack and 3 to do a prepared attack. You can recover disruption, although you could also wait to the end of the turn, and if you're in command range, you'll recover your disruption. Disruption, the big effect is you can't move, and you're not going to do any combat, so as far as attacking. The support for this game, I think it's great. It's a good, simple system. He's attacking there. He's adjacent to the defending hex. You're going to get a dice roll modifier for him, whether it's +1 or +2, depending on the type of attack. If you're in command range of your headquarters, you're going to get his support number, all right? Added to the attack. It might be halved if it's a regular attack. It's nothing if it's a hasty attack. You win a battle, you get 1 extra action point, which allows you, if you want, to move into that hex. Or you might be able to move even further. So you had a couple action points left and you win a battle. Now you got 1 extra one. So you use 1 and you move him, and maybe you burn another one and move the same unit again. So you're not limited in that. You can apply, like, I think I did a disruption here. I need to go back and check my rules to make sure. I did a recovery on 3 units here. And on 1 unit, you use an action point to do that, okay? Well, I decided I needed this guy here to recover, and I failed with the first roll. So I spent another action point in the same activation and rolled a 1 and got him recovered. So now he can move if I need him to move, and he can attack if I need him to attack. Yeah, I don't see you doing much attacking with the Germans against these strong American 1st Infantry Division guys. And the 2nd Armored guys are pretty good. Now, where does the German outperform 2nd Armored? Look at some of these tank factors. This armor superiority stuff here, 10, 10, 6. The best the Americans have are 6s. Right now, these 2 guys are disrupted. They're down to 3 and 2. So, all right, so we're through turn 2. The only grinding part of the game is, yes, you're going to execute a lot of actions, but I'm telling you, they're not that hard. And when you're just doing movement, that part moves pretty swiftly. The only time you slow down is, 1, maybe trying to think about if you only have 4 action points and you need to move that whole setup there, you're not going to move all of them, okay? So maybe figure out who's going to move. You're only moving 2 hexes for most of them, maybe 3 in some, and the armor has 5 and 6, but trying to move through a city as armored costs you 4, right? So you're not going to move but 1 hex through there. Combat, the calculation of the odds, not that hard. You're going to pull your chits, apply it to the attacker, depending on what their rating is, okay? And then apply it to the defender, depending on what their rating and what mode of attack they're in, okay? And then it's the same thing for the defender, what form of defense they're in, whether they're disrupted, whether it's just a regular defense, or whether they're in an improved position, which is one of the things I tried to do with all these German units on this last turn. And you see quite a few of them into improved defenses. And you figure out that, you multiply that to get your odds, just like any other game, and then you go through your 5 possible modifiers. And your modifiers are just die roll. And then you roll away with a 10-sided dice and add your modifiers or subtract them and get your result. Combat results are simple. They're numbered losses. If it's a red loss and it's more than 1, you're going to take 1 step loss and you're going to roll an efficiency check. If they fail it, they're going to disrupt and they got to force retreat. All right? If not, you can voluntarily retreat them to take that 2nd step loss, or you can leave them in place and take the 2nd step loss where they were. Your call on that one there. All right. So there we go. We're through turn 2. This is Crossing the Line, Aachen 1944 from VUCA Simulations. And I said it in my last video, this is a gem. I'm going to say it again. This is a gem. Now I can't wait to play Operation Theseus, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get my hands on Across the Bug, because I got a feeling that one's going to be really, really good too. Plus, Hexy loves East Front. That's his thing now. So, all right. Crossing the Line, Aachen 1944, VUCA Simulations. We're completed with turn 2. Well, I got to do the admin. Well, the admin phase will start turn 3. And we're going to keep grinding away. Going to have some more reinforcements coming on I believe the Americans are going to get a nice load this time. The Germans have quite a few forces. Oh, yeah, here's the losses so far. Unit losses for the Germans. Those 5 units right there. 2 from the, I don't know, LXXXXXX1, whatever, infantry units, just static stuff. All of, and then I guess I can't tell if those are Stugs or not. I think those are Stugs from the 116th. All right. So those are total unit losses, and you cannot rebuild total unit losses. All right. And you can see the activation formation markers on the chart there. So the Germans have all but 3, and the Americans have 3 still to come on as reinforcements. And then that's it. That's all you got. Okay? And they're never, after the first time they come on, the odds of them having max are slim. All right? All right, there you go. Let's get this posted so y'all can see how it's going on this game. If you got it, dig this thing out, because I'm going to tell you what, you sit down in an hour, you can read the rule book at the most. And I'm telling you, you're going to be playing without having to look into the rule book very often. All right, talk to y'all soon.